So, Ambassador Baker, what do you think was behind this decision by Airbnb? And why did they do this at this particular time?
Well, there's been a concerted attempt by the Palestinian leadership, including a letter from January 2016 by Sai Barikat, the Director General of the PLO and Palestinian chief negotiator, asking the CEO of Airbnb to start this boycott.
Was there pressure from other sources as well?
No, in my opinion, no. It all stems from part of this, what's called the BDS, the boycott campaign by the Palestinian leadership to try and harm Israel economically and culturally. And it all stems from this. Of course, there are additional bodies and organizations that would immediately go along with this. But that's the source of it is Sai Barikat.
If you feel that the source is, in fact, this PLO source, how then did Airbnb benefit from that decision?
They might benefit in getting some positive viewpoints from anti-Israel elements, but they haven't benefited and they won't benefit from it. First of all, because they're removing a huge amount of customers within Israel, within West Bank areas, Israel's towns and villages, in addition to people all over the world who will view this as a very hostile act taken by Airbnb, aligning itself in a very partisan way with organizations that are intent on undermining Israel.
Although Airbnb has removed these Israeli West Bank settlements, there are still some disputed areas where the company operates. Why do you think that's the case?
It's singling out. Look, the company operates in Moroccan Western Sahara, despite the fact that there's a huge territorial dispute there. The company operates in Turkish North Cyprus, despite the fact that nobody else recognizes Northern Cyprus. But the only place where they decided to impose a boycott, this implies something very, very ominous on the part of the executive of Airbnb.
Do you think that this is going to have a big impact on the locals?
Well, it will have an impact because area of the West Bank, Israel, Jews, Christians, Muslims, they all work together. There are industrial zones where everybody's working together for the benefit of everybody. And by instituting this type of boycott, in actual fact, Airbnb are harming Muslims and Christians as well as Jews.
Do you think that they would have done this if they thought that there was not going to be public support?
I don't think that has anything to do with that. I think it's the fact that they're only singling out the West Bank territories held by Israel, and they're not doing the same thing with all the other areas that are in dispute, is indicative of the fact that it's not an issue of public or financial interest. It's a political viewpoint that they've decided to align themselves with in violation of all their own principles with respect to renting out homes throughout the world.
Why do you think at this point in time this political stance was taken?
Because of pressure by a Palestinian leadership and
but
obviously supporters.
Well, what is the Palestinian interest in Airbnb, or what is Airbnb's interest in Palestine, if it's not public support?
In my opinion, the Palestinians have got absolutely no interest in Airbnb, apart from the fact that they want to cause damage to the fact that Airbnb is working with Israel. And Airbnb, in going along with this, they're not contributing to peace in the Middle East. To the contrary, they're giving support, they're giving license to organizations that are intent on undermining Israel and harming Israel, including, by the way, organizations that are involved in acts of terror against Israel. Political pressure supported by all sorts of elements within left-wing elements in society that are hostile to Israel, that they think.
So this is left-wing pressure.
It's pressure by those elements that are hostile to Israel, led by the Palestinian leadership.
So now, how can companies not directly linked to the conflict actually impact the relations that exist between Israel and Palestine?
They can't. It's a negotiating issue. The United States and the European Union and several other countries are deeply involved in trying to get the Israelis and the Palestinians back to a negotiating mode. This whole BDS, this boycott campaign organized by the Palestinians, it doesn't help in any way bring the parties closer. It might give the Palestinians some satisfaction that, hey, we've succeeded in getting Airbnb to boycott Israel. But it's not bringing peace closer one iota. And so the whole thing is in my view, purely political and prejudicial.